Niners had an early body clock game, and they sure played like it. They get absolutely spanked by the Houston Texans. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the 49ers Gold Standard Instant Reaction Podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. He is Levin Black. It's almost all over with the shouting in Houston. And Levin, that was a whooping by the Texans.
Let's call spades spades. The entire team, the coaching sucked in this game.
Not the entire team. Special teams was good. We're in the upside down. The Niners special teams was good today.
In very limited opportunities.
Yes.
But the offense, maybe the game plan would have worked. We didn't really get to see. It's because the defensive game plan and the defensive execution were both as putrid as you could possibly get. The amount of times they played off coverage on third and short, and the fact that when you looked at the replay, it was every single defender doing it, tells me that's by design. Robert Saleh decided, hey, they're down all their receivers. We're going to play off coverage, keep everything in front of us, which is a philosophy we know they've done in the past. And it was just to the point of not changing that it got asinine. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade, like I said. Playing 10-yard off coverage on 3rd and 3, 7-8 times in this game is incredibly stupid. Change it. Like, clearly they knew you were going to do that because all they were doing was running short outs and slants across the middle of the field. The defensive game plan, but then the execution on that game plan was terrible because the players were missing tackles and the players were literally sitting and looking at a guy wide open in front of them 3 yards past the first down marker, and they didn't move up and say, no, I'm not going to let that happen.
What was really weird, you know what it felt like? It felt like a Steve Wilks game plan. It was coverage not married to what was happening up front because the Niners had to blitz to get pressure. They had to, they knew it. And then they were playing soft coverage. So CJ Stroud is sitting back there. Oh, you're blitzing, throwing right where the blitz comes from, which is generally the rule. And they was completing passes. And my God, Daryl Johnston, holy crap. Can we stop with this? CJ Stroud looks like a different player. He's calm, cool, and collected. He was the second pick in the draft. He's got no pressure on him. Of course he looks good. He better look good. Holy hell, that was infuriating. Like Lettuce49 says, what was Robert Saleh afraid of? Backing guys up, soft coverage. It was pathetic.
Right. You got a whole bunch of inexperienced wide receivers. Make them beat press coverage.
Yep.
That's more difficult than saying, I'm going to give you 5 yards, and if they want 5 yards, they can have it every single play. Well, guess what? They wanted it every single play. That's why they converted 9 first downs in this game. Like, their drives, they had – the ironic part is, yes, they ended up having like 4 or 5 big plays, but all of those big plays came from short plays that then had a bunch of yards after the catch because the team didn't want to tackle. But they had so many drives where it's like, all right, first, second down, got him to third down. Oh, they converted by a couple of yards. First, second down. All right, we got him to third down again. We're going to get off the field this time. Oh, nope, they converted by a couple of yards. And they did that over and over. Put it this way. The very first drive of the Houston Texans had 16 plays. Midway through the third quarter, the 49ers had 17 plays.
It was pathetic. It was pathetic on offense. It was pathetic on defense. It was a belt to ass performance. And unfortunately, the 49ers were not the ones holding the belt in this game. Mac Jones is still in there for some reason, getting sacked and throwing passes with 19 seconds to go. Like, what are we doing there? He's still getting pressure. It's ridiculous. Con JKJ, YouTube channel member, says they got zero pressure against a bad offensive line doing blitzes they couldn't afford to find a lane to rush in. They couldn't get any pressure. That was the story of this game in a nutshell. The Niners offense could not stay on the field, and the 49ers defense could not get off the field. That is the story in a nutshell. Just a pathetic. It was as bad a performance as we have seen. This is how we expected the 49ers to look with all the injuries, right? This is what we thought they were going to be, and somehow the Niners kept putting this thing together. This is what it looks like. It was just bad, and the Niners are still throwing passes and getting out of bounds. Guys, there's 15 seconds left. It's over. All right. Take a knee. Don't get anybody else hurt. The game is lost. What do you think you're going to do in 15 seconds? You're going to score 11 points in 15 seconds? You ran 10 plays in the first half.
I'm going to make one more comment on the defense before we move to the offense. We don't know if they would have gotten any kind of coverage sacks because of the coverage. They had a lot of blitzes in this game, but they blitz while playing off coverage. That doesn't work. Hello? That's, like you said, you're not marrying the coverage to the game plan. If you're blitzing 2 to 3 guys, which they did many times in this game, it wasn't like one linebacker blitz. They were blitzing 2 to 3 guys, but then everybody's playing off coverage. Well, that makes it easy for CJ Stroud.
Right.
The guy he looks at has 5 yards of daylight. Nobody's around, so he's just going to dump it to him. And then after it's dumped to him, they missed the first tackle 75% of the time.
Yeah.
An insult to injury. That's why it wasn't just the game plan. The game plan was putrid and stupid, but then the play was half-assed. I'm trying not to use worse cuss words, but it was not playing with your heart, put it that way. They were playing weak.
They looked asleep. I mean, it was just bad, all around bad. And the Texans were on a short week, by the way. They had played late on Monday night. Looked like the 49ers were the ones that weren't awake. Game is now over. Lettuce49 says Stroud comeback game. LOL, the dude's jersey was clean. Exactly. Robert Saleh's defense did not force a single punt in this game until 4.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And I get it. There were injuries. I don't care, man. You can't force a single punt, a single one, to an offense whose wide receivers were off the field, who hadn't protected their quarterback. It was a bad Robert Saleh week this week. He's been great this year. He's been amazing. This week, the whole plan sucked, and the players sucked. Everybody sucked.
All right, the game's over, so I can make these official, because I was looking up statistics basically halfway through the third quarter, because I was like, I feel like this is headed towards an historic game. Like, they're going to set some records here. Well, CJ Stroud tied his career high for completions with 30. You have the Houston Texans. The most time of possession the Houston Texans have ever had in a game in their franchise history is 43-17. They fell just short of it. It ends up being the third most time of possession the Houston Texans have ever had in a game. It gets worse. 44 offensive plays for the 49ers, the least in the Kyle Shanahan era. The previous was 45. So they ran the fewest offensive plays in the Kyle Shanahan era. And then this is the worst one. Number of games in Houston Texans history where they had 300 passing yards, 150 rushing yards, and they allowed less than 250 yards to the opponent, meaning a complete game. They ran the ball, they passed the ball, and they stopped the opponent. First one ever. The Texans had never done it before. So it's literally the most complete game, in my opinion, that the Houston Texans have ever played.
It was certainly ugly. Every facet except special teams, oddly enough, was bad today. No question about it. Nick R., YouTube channel member, thanks for the donation, says ownership needs to hire outside medical staff to do some kind of audit. Nutrition, warm-ups, practice style. There has to be something the team is missing, something they can improve. 2,300 missed games. It wasn't 2,300. It was 2,036, I believe. Missed games due to injury in the Kyle Shanahan era. Doesn't mean every injury can be prevented, but, I mean, it's bad. I mean, Sam O went down. He's in bad shape. That ankle injury looked dicey. D. Winters went down. He can't come back. Alfred Collins went down. Luckily came back. Deommodore Lenoir was banged up in this game. We all know the injuries. I get it. It should be. It should be. It has to. You just have to change it out. You have to at this point. Fire everybody. It cannot get worse. If I was the training staff for the 49ers, it wouldn't be worse than it is now. They have to. They just have to, for the sake of changing something.
I mean, it's not a good look. I believe it's the strength and conditioning coach. I think
Dustin Perry.
I think it's the he's the one that is the husband of Matt LaFleur's wife, or the brother of Matt LaFleur's wife.
Oh, I don't know that that's Dustin Perry. I have no idea. He's the vice president of player health and performance. That's Dustin Perry. He keeps getting promoted somehow.
I think it's the strength and conditioning coach that is that.
Well, but like Dustin Perry keeps getting promoted. He's been there, I think, for like 9 years, whatever it is. His 9th season is this year. Yeah. And it's like they've been injured every year of Kyle Shanahan's tenure except one. How is this guy getting promoted? So it needs to be changed. That's not the only problem. And again, I'm not saying every injury is preventable because it's clearly not. Football is a 100% injury rate game, but the 49ers are so much worse at it than every other team that you literally have to make a change, and they won't, but they need to. More comments here. Dallas E says this one was on the offense. Kyle acts like the O-line is good. They could not block the Texans today at all. Will Anderson Jr. destroyed Colton McKivitz all day long. And look, he's a good player. Colton McKivitz has had a good year. It was just a bad
same move over and over. But look,
last
week Tatum Bethune came dressed as Fred Warner, right? This week it's Halloween. Colton McKivitz did not need to come dressed as Jake Brendel, right? Like, what was he doing? Every single play, it was, hey, I'm going to sprint as fast as I can up the field, and McKivitz would go, oh, I didn't get there in time.
It was bad. Lettuce49 says, Dallas E says this loss is on the offense. What? I'm just saying, if you guys want to disagree and get into a super chat battle while you do it, that would be okay with us.
It's on both. Both sucked.
Everybody sucked today. Matthew McBride, horrible offense today that left a defense on the field too long. I've never seen an offense that inept. I have never seen it before. They didn't even get through the scripted plays until halftime. Like, I've never seen that before. Even when you do Madden and you play on 3-minute quarters, maybe then, if you could hold them off the field because you just run the ball. The 49ers ran 14 plays in a half hour of football. I never would have seen that coming. I know the Texans defense is good. I'm not trying to disparage them in any way. They're amazing. They're very good. They were second in yards, first in points per game allowed. No slight to them. But that's pathetic. That is unacceptable. That's unprofessional. It's unacceptable. No matter who's on the field for the offense.
It was, I think, a game plan that could have worked if they could pass block, because you saw opportunities. I mean, even with as bad as it was, they had 2 deep passes, or 3 actually, that should have been caught, because you had the Kendrick Bourne one at the end, you had the Watkins one, and you had the Jennings one. All 3 of the wide receivers failed on a deep pass that should have been caught. Like, you complete those. Like, the pass game, guys could get open. The problem was they couldn't pass block long enough to make it work for the entire first half. In the second half, it was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. It would be one play, Mac Jones has 5+ seconds. The next play, he doesn't even get a second. He can't even finish his drop back before he's being forced off the spot. So it was, in the first half, it was every single play. Like, the ball is hiked and somebody's coming at him. But in the second half, they had some plays where it worked. And when they got 3 seconds of pass blocking, there was a guy wide open down the field. So it's the one aspect that I don't necessarily blame today is Kyle Shanahan's offensive game plan. Clearly, the players just couldn't execute worth a crap today.
We never got to see what they kept saying in the broadcast. They're like, we don't know what Kyle's game plan was, because they ran 14 plays you can't see it. You cannot see it. It was, I've never seen an offensive performance like that in the Kyle Shanahan era. It was the worst one. It was the worst one I have ever seen. Real OBJ CDT says, where are all the Mac 10 apologists, statue Mac? I texted you, I think. They really missed Brock's mobility today in a major way, because he would have turned some of those sacks or some of those short, either incompletions or short completions, into positive gains. He would have, I think, maybe forced D'Amico Ryans to adjust a little bit. Today was a day where they really missed Brock Purdy. I'm not going to criticize Mac Jones too much. I mean, only in the fact that he's not mobile, but he's never mobile. I'm not going to ask him to be something he's not. They really missed Brock today.
Yeah, and even the one interception, I don't, it's not one that I go, oh, that was a terrible throw. It was a jump ball to your big wide receiver who wins most of the jump balls in previous seasons, not so much this year. And it was desperation time. So, okay, I have one-on-one coverage going deep. I'm throwing a jump ball to my wide receiver, and Jennings just didn't play it right. He overran it. So he did what he could in a game where everybody around him was failing. The offensive line was horrible. Yeah. And the receivers, as I mentioned, had 3 deep balls that were dropped. So like he didn't have much help. He did what he could. It wasn't a bad Mac Jones game. It was just also not a game that it was not a game where the game script was going to allow him to succeed because it fell in the way that is not good for him.
Yeah, we talked about we haven't really seen Mac Jones get down by multiple scores and what that would look like. Well, the one thing you couldn't do against this defense was get down by multiple scores. And the 49ers did it almost immediately in this game. They were down 13-0. It is not the game script the 49ers need. The one thing, if you want to look for positives, you could say, well, the 49ers kept Christian McCaffrey's touches down. He only had 11 in the whole game. If you're worried about Christian McCaffrey, this is like light work for him. Sid Brown says, if the Niner injuries were a stock, you'd be able to retire. It's insane and not an accident since 2017. Wow. I think we all agree with that. Eric Williams, they invested too much into a defense who can't stay healthy. Trent's age is showing and is beat every play. They need Brock and an offensive overhaul. I don't think they need an offensive overhaul. Like, this was a bad week. No question about it. No sugarcoating it. It was a bad week. Their offense has looked way better than this, even with guys out. Like, we don't need an offensive overhaul. This was just a horrible week for them.
Yeah, and Trent struggles with the speed rush now. If there's a guy who is very quick and can bend, Trent struggles with that. And there were plays in this game where Trent would have been to blame, but McKivit's guy got there first. Trent was beat. But his guy didn't get there quite as fast as McKivit's guy.
He's very banged up too. I think it's pretty clear. He got dinged in this game as well, but still, yeah, he's not been himself by any stretch of the imagination. Gold Rush says McCorkle proved why he's the backup. Purdy, please. I'm surprised that a lot of the Mac Jones criticism today, and I'm not saying he was great, but he did make a lot of good throws. He had the guts to throw that touchdown to Kittle at the end of the first half on 3rd and 10. There were 3 Texans there. It was, a scary throw. I think he threw it back shoulder on purpose to help mitigate some of that, but I don't know. I can't look at the game today and look at all the problems the 49ers had and say Mac Jones was the biggest one. To me,
no. I mean, he was 19 of 32. And if you give him even 2 out of the 3 deep balls that were dropped by the receiver, he's 21 of 32, and he ends up having 250 plus yards and a couple touchdowns. And like I said, the 1 interception he had, the 1 turnover he had, I don't really think is a bad turnover. It was the right time and place in the game to throw a jump ball on one-on-one coverage going down the field because they needed to score and they needed to score quickly. So it wasn't a bad throw. His receiver just didn't play it quite right, and the defender made a good play. So it was not a bad game. It just was not a great game, but I don't think he had a chance. I don't think in any way, shape, or form Mac could have done things to improve this. The offensive pass blocking was so bad, and his receivers were dropping the ball, that this is about what you could expect a quarterback to do in this scenario. Like, there wasn't much else he could have done to elevate.
Except run, and that's not in his bag. That was the
only...
only...
he had 23 rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, he did run a couple of times. Yeah. And then one of the times he ran in the play that didn't count, which I think he ended up aggravating his knee injury because the Texans were offsides. He should have just chucked it because it was a free play. And then he scrambled, and then he got tackled, and then he hurt his knee a little bit. Duckstar says, time to go get a pass rusher ASAP. I mean, they need so much now. They need...
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't get one.
Well, first it was like, they need to get a pass rusher to add to this to really... And now it's like, we literally need healthy human bodies to play defensive end. Like, what... Who is left? I have never seen a team run out of players at a certain position the way the 49ers have. They did it at running back last year. Obviously, they did it at quarterback in the NFC Championship game in 2022. I feel like they're out of edge rushers this year. Basically, they were out of wide receivers this year. They had to just get everybody off the scrap heap. I've never seen that before, except for this team.
Yeah, and they lost multiple interior defensive linemen in this game as well. But I think this past week tipped their hand a little bit in the trade market, because if they truly wanted to go for this season, they would have added a pass rusher. When Huff was ruled out so early, it's like, if you cared, you would go get the pass rusher this week so that you have something. The fact that they didn't, it just tells me that this year they're not looking to push any chips in. They're trying to wait for next year.
Yeah, I completely agree that they have always viewed this as a transition year. They were a little surprised. If Huff didn't get hurt, and I think if Warner was still there, they might have felt differently, but the losses are mounting up. Lettuce49 says, Rob, yes, you have the Jimmy Denver safety game. Sorry, I don't even remember what you were referring to, Lettuce, but I appreciate the super chat. Game was dictated entirely by the Houston offense and the San Francisco defense. I mean, just look quickly at the Houston drives. 16 plays, 57 yards, 9:39. 9 plays, 71 yards, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 10 plays, 82 yards, 5 minutes and 53 seconds. 11 plays, 62 yards, 4:54. 2 plays, 2 yards, 25 seconds. That was the interception at the end of the first half. Of course, the 49ers interception streak ends in a meaningless interception. But that was Houston's offense, completely dominating and dictating the game for the entire game. Because, again, they didn't punt until 4.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. If a team has 5 drives of 50-plus yards with at least 9 plays, that's as clear of a sign as you can get that offense is inflicting their will, because that means that they're just slowly and methodically moving down the field. It's not a case of, they had 5 plays because they had a 40-yard gain and then they ended up punting because they couldn't do anything after. It's, all right, they got 3 yards, then they got 4 yards, then they got 5 yards in the first down, then they got 4 yards again, then they got 5 yards again, then they converted on third down again. They're inflicting their will. It's what the 49ers, that's kind of the MO that we're used to the 49ers, where it's they're not necessarily having these big splash plays, but they're just constantly churning the ball and moving the ball by being able to run and being able to have an effective short passing game. And that's what it was. The Texans were able to do whatever they wanted on offense.
Yep.
Because the 49ers said, we're not going to allow you to have a 30-plus air yard pass, but anything else is open to you. You want to run the ball, run the ball. You want to throw underneath, throw underneath. Oh, crap, we missed tackles. Now you got that 30-plus yard gain anyways 3 times.
And they also gave up a 44-yard pass to Jalen Noel, too, which most of which was air yards. So, like, they couldn't even – it was anything they wanted. It was And you know what? Like, some of it has to go on Kyle, too. Like, hey, you keep seeing you blitz and the soft coverage, get in Salah's ear and tell him, stop doing that, right? Like, you are the head coach. You are Robert Saleh's boss. He didn't do that, clearly, or if he did, it didn't work. Gabe Owners says Mac threw some dimes today and they kept dropping them. I'm surprised at the number of people upset with Mac, and I get it. He's the quarterback, but he was not problem number 1 today.
No, and that's what he's saying. He's saying that Mac was throwing. I mean, you had Jennings drop. They ended up scoring on that touchdown drive.
Yes.
But Jennings dropped a pass that was a bullet thrown by Mac Jones on, about a 10-yard crossing route. And then you had the 3 deep balls. So, like, Mac Jones could have had a 300-plus yard game if his receivers caught the ball.
I see this question. Roderick Thomas says, why didn't they kick the field goal before the 2-minute warning and save their timeouts? They could have, but you also don't know when you're going to get down there again. And if you have the opportunity to score the touchdown, I could see them taking it. Like the game went awry well before that point, but it's a fair question. Like I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer in that scenario, honestly. Like if they brought out Pinheiro, I would have been like, I understand it. To me, I don't feel strongly either way.
I think, one, they were moving the ball. So, okay, the offense is doing something here. Take the opportunity when things are working. But I think with the way kicking has gone in the league, I do think it's changed this scenario a little bit. You can kick a field goal from the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
Right?
So that close.
So I would much rather, if I got down to the 20, that's my chance to get a touchdown, rather than take the field goal, hope to get the ball back, and then you're sitting at the 40-yard line needing a touchdown with only a couple tries. No, I would rather try to score the touchdown, and then with 10 seconds to go, try to kick a 60-yard field goal.
You have to get 2 scores anyway. So I agree, because like you never know. You get the onside kickback, you get 1 completion, you get a penalty, and all of a sudden you're maybe kicking a 60-yard field goal. So I get it. Let's keep going with the super chat. Zach Cox says Max played fine. They doubled us up in yards and time of possession. Defense was clearly issue number 1 for the 49ers. John Brown says Lucas over Upton. He's not getting it done. I'm kind of done with Upton Stout. I think all he does is hold and grab, and it just depends on whether or not he gets called for it.
No, so Upton Stout does one of 2 things on a play. I'm going to play off coverage by 10 yards and then come up and make the tackle. Or I'm going to try to play press coverage where I hold the guy and hope I don't get a penalty. Neither one works. Like, there were a lot of the completions in this game that were up and stout playing off coverage and then just giving up the first down. And then there were a lot of play, or there was the play in the game where he had the hold because he tried to play press and he just got basically, he got the tight end ran into his chest, or I guess it wasn't the tight end, it was that wide receiver.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was a tight end because he looks like his body, he's big and but basically the guy just ran through his chest and up and stout was off balance and ended up out in the hole. It's just, to me, all right, we need to win some games. We can't afford to keep losing games because we want this rookie to develop. Upton Stout needs to be sitting on the bench.
All right, Chase Lucas has played well when he's been in there. Alejandro Sandoval, YouTube channel member, thank you so much, says, I would love to see our record in 10 a.m. games in the Shanahan era. No excuse, but we suck in early games. I don't know if that's true off the top of my head.
No. So the 49ers, because I remember this from the Harbaugh era, the stats, they had something like a 17 win percentage on games that were in the early time slot back east. With Kyle Shanahan, it's like 50-50. It used to be a massive thing that the 49ers specifically were terrible at for a long time. And in Kyle Shanahan era, they're more like 50-50. I mean, they've won games in the Northeast. They won games in the Southeast in the early time slot, and that used to almost never happen.
And I know they won a lot of games when they would stay over in like Youngstown, Ohio or West Virginia. They would win a lot of those early games. They might lose the week after, but the early body clock games they had won. Marcus Lionheart says, do you think Michelle gave us bad juju by going to the game? She was there. She was texting me, ripping Jauan Jennings a new one multiple times. I think it's clear. Forget Robert Saleh. Forget Kyle Shanahan. Forget the blocking. Forget Colton McKivitz. This game is Michelle Majuk's fault. We can agree.
I was going to, up until he had that pass catch at the 1 yard line. I mean, I had texted you.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm fine with them cutting him. I would rather trade him, but let's call it what it is. He's half-assing his pass blocking. He is playing Ole on the pass blocking. Now, maybe that's because he has a certain game threshold that he's playing. Or run blocking, sorry. Yeah. His run blocking, he's not engaged like he used to be.
No.
And I don't know if it's due to the injury, but if that's the case, then stop playing. If you can't run block, take yourself out.
Or,
but then he's having 1 to 2 drops a game. So
Kyle needs to inactivate him. Sorry, Jauan, you're not good. You're not good. You can't run block. I don't know if it's effort or if it's, your body's not letting you, whatever, but I don't care. The result is the same, and we need better from you. There was one run where he didn't block anybody. He was just kind of floating around out there like, dude, this is not year one in the system for you. I'm all set. It's like that has been the Jauan Jennings experience this year. It's like dropping that deep pass, dropping other plays, run blocking sketchy, and then he makes that tremendous play on 3rd and 17 to get him down to the 1 yard line. You're like, oh God, I guess we can't cut him now. It's like that has been the Jauan experience. I'm ready for that experience to be over. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
more Jordan Watkins.
The guy wanted $20 million before the season. He's going to be lucky to get $5 million. I think. Yep. I think he's looking at other teams looking at the film and going, this guy was not even trying up there. And that's going to tank his value because he doesn't have the statistics to back it up. He's not having a lot of catches this season. So teams are going to have to look at it and go, all right, he didn't have a great season statistically, but what else does he bring? And when you look at the film, you can see him, like you said, he had a play today where he's literally just in la la land. He is mentally checked out. His where he is at mentally in this game, he's got his head up his ass. Let's call it what it is. He got his feelings hurt over the contract and not getting one, and he hasn't been the same since. He is not mentally checked into this season yet.
I think it's the contract stuff. I think it's the fact that Brock got out and Mac got in, and Mac clearly has a better connection with Kendrick Bourne, and they essentially serve the same function in this offense. So he kind of got phased out a little bit. And then the injury situation, I think it's all of it, but it's bad. It's all bad. And I'm all set with it. I don't ever have to worry about Jauan Jennings. And then he got the face mask penalty, by the way. Mac Jones has a beautiful bootleg, runs for 10 yards, first down. Nope, face mask, Jauan Jennings.
Well,
that's drive too.
That one I was ready to grill him for, but it was really just bad luck. He's blocking the guy, and his finger slips off of the jersey and hooks into the face mask. And then he immediately tried to let go. Like he reacted and tried to let go. That one was bad luck.
Lettuce49, new YouTube channel member. You get a fist pump. Thank you so much. Gabe Owner says Kyle was clearly outcoached and he gets the biggest portion of the blame. I can't give him the biggest portion when Robert Saleh doesn't make a stop until the fourth quarter. Like you can't, sorry.
The two people that deserve the least amount of blame is Kyle Shanahan and Mac Jones, in my opinion. Like the pass blocking was so terrible. Like as the announcers were saying, and as you said earlier in the show, we didn't even know what the game plan was for Kyle Shanahan because the team was playing so horribly you couldn't figure it out. They didn't have enough time on the field to know. But when they did get some pass blocking, as I said, they had guys open down the field. So clearly it was the right call. It's just the offensive line played like crap.
D'Amico 49ers today. They got pressure with 4. They had 7 guys in coverage, and they just couldn't block. They could not block the Texans. It was every single play. It was maddening all day long, and it just completely ground the 49ers offense to a halt. Cynthia, YouTube channel member, says, OT, I hope they don't lose in New York. Train ride alone is $277. Cam Scattaboo had an ugly injury. He had the dislocated ankle injury today. That's terrible news for New York. But if the 49ers don't get any more pressure, Jackson Dart's going to run all over them next week.
If they can't keep contained. So, all right, a couple things before we move to criticizing a certain defensive lineman that I want to get to. The game plan that D'Amico Ryans had was 100% the blueprint that I think teams should be playing. And I mentioned it. They spied Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, and they came after Mac Jones. If you get to the quarterback and you take away the dump off to Christian McCaffrey, that's all this offense has been all year. It's been, if we get pass blocking, there'll be our wide receiver open deep. If we don't get pass blocking, I'm going to dump it off to Christian McCaffrey for 5 to 10 yards. They had somebody spying Christian McCaffrey the entire game. There was a guy that the moment the ball was snapped, he would come up to the line of scrimmage and follow Christian McCaffrey as he came out of the backfield. And it was a lot of times that I can't remember how to pronounce this. He's a linebacker, but he's kind of a safety. He's a tweener in between, number 39 for them. He was the one that was doing it a lot, but they also had many times where it was a DB staying in the flat in a zone, waiting on Christian McCaffrey to come in there because they were not going to try to trail him with some slow linebacker. It was very clear that D'Amico Ryans decided we're going to get to Mac Jones and we're going to take away the dump off and see if they can counter that, and they couldn't.
Joseph Ernberg says Mike Howell is a wasted pick, busts back to back. I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree. Is he a great pass rusher? No, he is not. Is he a great run blocker? Absolutely. You want to talk about a wasted pick? Nick Martin, every linebacker for the 49ers is injured, and they still put Curtis Robinson on the field ahead of Nick Martin. That's a wasted pick. Jordan Watkins, what was he on the field for one play in his first game active all year? That's a wasted pick. Michael Williams is not a wasted pick by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not willing to go bust yet, but that's who I was going to criticize. Michael Williams, can you do something, please? I had this thought, and it's a scary thought. I remember defending Jauan Jennings in his rookie season because I said, no, he didn't have great pass rush on the interior, but he held his ground in the run game because he did as a rookie before he got hurt, and then that injury kind of destroyed his ability to hold his ground because his knee was destroyed. But that's what it's reminding me of. It's like we're praising Michael Williams for holding his ground. It's like that doesn't cut it when you're drafted where you're at. I'm not saying he needs a bunch of sacks, but he needs to get some pressures. Like you need to be able to pressure the quarterback some. And oh, by the way, keep the damn contain on the quarterback. Twice in this game, I saw Michael Williams desperate to try to get a pressure, work his way back to the inside, and then Stroud escaped to the outside where he was supposed to keep contained. So I'm not impressed. Like everybody is down on that defensive line. You got to at least make some plays. You got to make some kind of difference. It can't just be, oh, he sat in his spot and didn't get moved.
I'm surprised. Michael Williams is so far down on the list of 49ers problems to me. I don't have any problem with how he's played.
He's not the worst player out there. Before you do the super chat, he's not the worst player out there, but he's not doing what you needed out of that first round pick at the same time.
They needed him to stop the run. That's why he's on the team. That's why he got picked where he's been. And for the most part, he's done a great job of that. His pass rushing is not very good right now. It definitely needs work. No question about it. But anyway, I don't want to get bogged down on Michael Williams. Cowboy Brewer says, yeah, he's a new YouTube channel member. Excuse me. Fist pump for you. I gave you 2 fist pumps, so feel proud for that. Gabe Owner says, Levin, Kyle still gets the blame because the offensive line BS is on him. But the offensive line hasn't been that bad all year. Today was bad. Not every defense has Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Like, give some credit to Houston, too. Now, if you want to say against a really good defense, the 49ers offensive line is really bad, completely fair. Completely fair. But as I have continued to maintain with this offensive line, it's average. Not the worst, could certainly be better. But it's average. Against a really good defense today, they got owned. They got completely owned today. No question about it. In fact, I just saw a quote from Kyle Shanahan as some of the post-game press conferences are taking place right now. Quote, credit to them. They kicked our ass. I was disappointed in how we looked for all 4 quarters. That's the accurate analysis for this game.
Yeah. It was, I get the criticism that, yes, Kyle has made this offensive line what it is because he refuses to address it, and he wants to pretend people like Jake Brendel are top 10 centers in the league. But in this game, I feel like the bigger problem was just the players not executing. When you have defensive players literally just sprint past the offensive lineman, that's no amount of coaching is to blame for that. Like, no amount of player personnel and decisions on the roster of not addressing a position is to blame for that. Colton McKivitz got paid. He should be able to adjust and get the heck out to the outside to stop Will Anderson Jr. from just sprinting past him over and over again.
You know what's crazy in this game? How many running plays do you think the 49ers ran today?
10, I know.
It was, yeah, but 2 of those were Mac Jones scrambles, and there were no sneaks, so it's really 8.
Yeah.
8 running plays. They ran the ball 40 times last week. Now, look, I get it. You're facing a different team, and I think some of that got a little skewed at the end of the game when they were down by multiple scores and they were trying to pass to catch up. But that is, I can't remember a Niners game where they had 8 carries from running backs in the entire game. 8, 2 per quarter.
Well, I mean, part of it was just the way the script, like, they couldn't get the ball. They had so little time of possession. If this was a game with, even below average time of possession rather than one of the worst ever, they would have ended up with, twice as many rushes, and it wouldn't be a topic conversation. It's because the games they got down and they couldn't get the ball because the defense couldn't get off the field.
Alex Dubater, says, or becomes a new YouTube channel member. Thank you all, everybody, becoming a new YouTube channel member. I really appreciate it. You get custom emojis, you get priority comment response, you get something else that I can't remember off the top of my head. Forgive me. Jeez, I can't even remember what it is right now. I'm so mad at the 49ers. But thank you for everybody that's becoming a YouTube channel member. We appreciate it. Shanahan is 17-12 for the early game starts. There you go. Thank you, Cowboy Brewer, for researching that. Appreciate it. Perfect Blackness Senior says, we lost this game in the first half with only 2 first downs and a ton of 3-and-outs. This is not on the defense, and the O-line personnel is what Shanny wanted. How do you look at a defense that didn't stop a team until the 4th quarter and say it's the offense's fault? How do you look at that? I'm stunned at this. Robert Saleh's defense could not stop or even pressure the Houston Texans until the 4th quarter with 4.5 minutes to go. You can't say the offense takes the blame first. You can't.
No, the defense allowed a 16-play drive, allowed a 9-play drive, allowed a 10-play drive, and allowed a 12-play drive to start this game. Those were the first 4 drives, if memory serves. It was 16, 9, I think the 12 came, and then the 10. But they had 4 straight drives of 57-plus yards that resulted in points to start the game. The only other possession that they had in the entire first half was that 2-play interception drive with 11 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the defensive first half was one of the worst halves of a defense that you can possibly have, because they literally allowed the other team to have 24 minutes time of possession.
Yep.
And convert. I think they had 7 first down or third down conversions out of 9 in the first half. It was insane.
I've never seen a Robert Saleh defense look like that since he really got it ramped up in 2019 with this team. Roderick Thomas, I'm going to try and connect this super chat because it's a little split here, but I think he says, for the love of God, why is
this coverage
so soft, especially when we blitz? We get beat by 4th and 5th string wide receivers. That's the thing. If you give a quarterback time to throw, I don't care what wide receivers are out there. They're going to catch the ball. You can only cover for so long. We've seen Mac Jones do it with Kendrick Bourne. Like, it doesn't matter what wide receivers are out there. You have to actually cover. And like, you have Diamador Lenore, who you paid, and you have Renardo Green, who you invested a 2nd-round pick in. Put them in man coverage. Put them in tight man coverage and say, if you beat us, congrats. But we believe in these guys. You're supposed to believe in your corners. Soft coverage sucks, man. I hate soft coverage almost all the time.
Yeah, it's especially bad when you're blitzing. You can't blitz and have soft coverage. That's an easy out for the quarterback. But I'm going to help you out here. You know, we will have teamwork, you and I. Maybe the 49ers didn't in this game, but you missed 2 super chats, and I think I found them.
Okay, good.
People in the chats have been saying, and I don't remember these 2 being put up. Lettuce49 says, I was referring to Rob mentioning the O was the worst he's seen under Kyle. Primetime Jimmy safety game versus Denver game, definitely the worst. By the way, Purdy wins today.
I don't know about that last part, but you're right. The Jimmy G pick 6 safety was that was a bad offensive performance too. Just the fact that they literally couldn't get a first down. They didn't get a first down until before halftime, their last possession of the first half. They couldn't get a first down. My God. And what was the other one that I missed?
Same one. So you must have just accidentally scrolled past the 2. It's Iceman's. How did Seattle look so dominant against the Texans?
Because they got pressure. When CJ Stroud gets pressure, he folds. The Niners could not get pressure on him at all. They couldn't even move him off his spot most of the time. It was ugly.
I was going to say, because it's the NFL. A team can look like a Super Bowl champion one week and then look like the Tennessee Titans the next week.
I apologize if I miss your super chats. I try to get them all in. We really appreciate it. If you miss it, if I miss it, mention it again. And hopefully between Levin and I, we can go back and check it out. Kyle on the post-game injury report. Jordan Elliott, ankle. Samo, ankle. Alfred Collins, shoulder, return to game. And D. Winters, knee inflammation. Shanahan said the 2 ankle injuries don't appear to be high ankle sprains. Again,
I don't care. I don't care what he says about what they appear to be.
I was just going to say that. Disregard everything he says about it. All we need to know is player and potential injury. We'll find out more tomorrow. And even then, you know, if he says it's minor, don't believe it, because Ricky Pearsall had a minor PCL injury. He's been out for a month. So, you know, don't listen to what they say about the injuries.
Yeah. And how about the Alfred Collins comment from Saleh that the broadcast mentioned? Saleh said he has a chance to be a star. And combine that with, did you see Saleh's comments about what, you know, the difference between a star and, you know, a player beneath a star?
Basically opportunity. That's pretty much what he said.
He said the gap is very small. Mm-hmm. Like you have a lot of players in this league that can be competent. You have very few players that can make that slight difference and elevate to the level of star.
Frisbee Life on Twitch. Shout out to the Twitch fam. We love you. Says, literally don't trust game day injury evaluations. LOL. Completely agree with you.
Don't trust injury evaluations at any point in time by this regime. They have been dead wrong so many times and been found to be lying.
It's comical what they do with the injuries. It really is. I'm fascinated to hear Robert Saleh's press conference this week because, I mean, he was undressed today. The unit was absolutely undressed completely. Jeremy says, Purdy wins today is a joke. He had 3 picks trying to make the same throws that Mac did. Decide who you are a fan of, the 49ers or just Purdy. Purdy hasn't looked good for over a year. I thought he looked good before he got hurt against Seattle, but I don't think you can say for sure that you know that Purdy wins today. I do think the offense would have run more than 14 plays in the first half because I think Brock's running would have kept them in more manageable situations, and I think they would have been able to stay on the field. But I don't know if they win. He may have thrown 4 picks today. We had no idea.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying that Purdy would not have been good in this game plan, because a lot of the throws were these deep throws that 100% Mac Jones has a really good deep ball. I would say that he's high ranking. Like, he's better than a large majority of starters in the league on his deep ball. Very good deep ball. Whereas Purdy, not so good.
Iceman keeps saying I missed his super chat. We read your super chat, Iceman. I promise you we read it. Someone else told you that we just read it. I swear to God, we did. Well, I'm trying to see what else Kyle Shanahan said. And again, I don't want to get too crazy because people quote him. And so sometimes they don't quote.
By the way, you're wrong. You did not read Iceman's super chat. I read Iceman's super chat.
Shut up. I'm trying to think of what else I want to say about this game. The Nick Martin thing jumped out to me because it's like, we're really playing Curtis Robinson. Like, how bad does Nick Martin have to be? Like, is he really that bad? Because if he's that bad, it's a bad pick. And if you're just scared to go to him because he's a rookie, like, it's Curtis freaking Robinson. Like, I put him out there. It's maddening to me. That's when I knew they were kind of throwing up the white flag, by the way. When Jordan Watkins was on the field, I was like, okay, Kyle didn't think they could win. Because that's when you could tell. Because he does not want to play young players unless he absolutely has to.
I'm laughing at this comment.
Cowboy Brewer, YouTube channel member, says, about time for the DOJ, FBI, CIA, PTA, HOA. Well, a couple of interesting groups at the end of that. Says to look into the Niners strength and conditioning staff. All these injuries are crazy. I don't know what the PTA. My kids go to a school called Bear Path. I don't know that the Bear Path Elementary is going to be able to crack the code, but I respect the comment, Cowboy.
Well, he's not talking about cracking the code. He's making a topical reference to the betting scandal that's happening in the NBA. The FBI just arrested a whole bunch of former NBA players for faking injuries and different things like that in order to mess with games. That he's making a joke about all these injuries are suspicious.
I'm not going there with the 49ers and injuries, but
I think in the NFL it would be extremely hard to prove injuries were faked.
Here is the good news for the 49ers. You want some good news 47 minutes into this thing? As bad as today was, and it was bad, it was UGLY ugly. No question about it. It only counts as one. It only counts as one loss. They are 5-3. They're still okay. 2 of their losses are against the AFC. It only counts for one. That's the only solace you can take from this thing. They can hope if they, can get back on it next week and look good, which we have seen teams look really bad one week in the NFL and look really good the next week. If they can get on next week and get a win, you'd be 6-3 and you'd still be in fantastic position.
Yeah, they got to win next week. Mm-hmm. I think it would be hard to recover, even though they would still be above 500. I think in a division that has, at least at this point, 2 other 5-2 teams, it would be really hard to have all of these injuries and fall 5-4, losing to 2 teams that you should not have lost to, and recover.
Yeah. And I don't want to call it a must win, but they really, 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 really need to win next week. Gabe Owner says, thank goodness we have Levin to translate super chats. Stop giving Levin credit for anything.
Well, I'm going to also say you missed a super chat right above that.
I'm going to it right now. Calm down. Perfect Blackness again. Thank you, Perfect Blackness says, so time of possession has nothing to do with defensive performance. You really expect our defense to match 3 and outs with what Saleh has to work with?
How did the game start? They allowed a 16-play drive. How did the second drive go? They allowed a 9-play drive that ended in a touchdown. Like, that's on the defense. They started the game.
And the 49ers, like, you can have a 3 and out drive. That shouldn't be like, oh, you had a 3 and out drive. All right, defense is off the hook now. Like, no. We just
disagree. CJ Stroud and the ghost of Nick Chubb.
Right.
Like, they allowed a 16-play drive to start the game, and then followed it up by allowing a long touchdown drive, and then followed it up by allowing another long touchdown drive. I think the third one was the 96-yard drive. So, like, an offense going 3 and out twice should not result in 3 touchdowns.
Well, it wasn't. It was 3-0 Houston after the first drive, 6-0 after the second, and then they scored the touchdown on the third drive to make it 13-0.
That's true.
They had the ball for 13 of the first 15 minutes of the game. Now, the offense isn't blameless. I agree with you there, but the defense was the bigger issue, in my opinion. Now, both were bad. I want to be clear. But if we're picking out who gets the biggest slice of blame pie, Robert Saleh's got the most dessert on his plate.
Do you think his dessert includes pie?
I don't know. Kyle said,
"Hey, that's a timely thing, Mister. I hate pie, and it's about to be
pie.
Thanksgiving."
Kyle Shanahan said they kicked our ass. We got to take it like men. We got to come back, hopefully a little ticked off, go to work, and play better next week than we did this week. Yeah, that's the attitude. Like it's frustrating. I get all that, but again, you win next week and you're 6-3, and that's a damn good place to be with 1 week to go before the trade deadline.
Yeah, they got to win next week, but if they win, all is right. The alarm bells are turned off. That's the response you need. Hey, you played like crap. Use it. Be pissed about it. Be embarrassed about it, and let it drive you to go out there and smack somebody in the mouth the next week.
Yeah, and they certainly can. Like, I'm not ready to throw in the towel or give up on the season or any stretch of the imagination. Let's see what they do next week against New York. By the way, if today couldn't get any worse, Levin, we probably had our worst week with the picks because, unfortunately, the 49ers offense did nothing for much of the game, but we did not do our best. We failed on the Christian McCaffrey receiving yards. That was a disappointment. I failed on my Eddie Pinheiro. I thought he was going to make more than 1.5 field goals. He did not, unfortunately. It was not our strongest week for sure, but we did hit on a couple. But we have been before this week 70% on the picks. I don't know what our percentage is now because I haven't totaled it all up yet. But if you're going to make picks, please do it with Sleeper this year. That's where we make our picks. If you win on your picks, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. And all you got to do is pick on stats like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more. And you could win big, as I said, up to 1,000 times your money. And now's the perfect time to hop on board. If you haven't done so, just sign up. You don't even have to deposit any money. Just sign up and you'll get a free $20 entry. So how could you say no to that? If you do want to deposit something, please use our code GSP and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Again, that's our code GSP. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Another super chat here. Gabe says, disagree. The defense has the most injuries. Offense is to blame. But like we talked about, yeah, the injuries are a part of it. And by the way, there's over 1,100 people watching. Thank you so much. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're live after every Niners game. We're live every single weekday here for you. Give us a chance. I promise you'll keep coming back. Our issue with the defense, as much as it was tackling and stuff, was also scheme-based. And that is not affected by the injuries. The game plan defensively was a bad game plan against this opponent, and Houston exploited it. And that's where the biggest frustration with the defense comes in for me.
The offense was down 5 starters. So, like, neither side is got built in. Oh, well, they had more players that were healthy. No, both sides are incredibly banged up. The offense is down both starting wide receivers when you count Ayuk. They're down 2 offensive linemen and the freaking quarterback.
Yeah, there's no healthy unit, really, for the 49ers. That's the problem. Red and Gold Blooded, YouTube channel member for 16 months, says, O-line sucked, 0 pass rush, still could have won. EMZ says, Kittle said they left the young defense out to dry. Well, of course he's going to say that. Like, what do you expect him to be like? He's not going to sit there and go, wasn't our fault. Like, George Kittle's never going to say that. Both sides let the offense let the defense down. The defense let the offense down.
Yeah. The only good thing to come from this game is George Kittle got a touchdown on tight end day.
That's true.
And
yeah, I actually think Ton just stole that one from Kittle.
I think so too.
Mac was throwing it to George.
Did you see Kittle?
Yeah, he kind of like
afterwards,
didn't he?
He was pointing at Mac saying, I think he said, come on, man, jokingly saying, come on, man, because he was wide open in the same similar area.
And they even said, like, the throw to Kittle is probably an easier throw. And Ton just kind of like snatched. Ton just was like, screw this, man. Now George is back. I'm never.
You're not replacing me.
Right. I'm just taking this thing. Con JKJ says, can we petition the league to skip the Giants game so we don't have to play on that turf? At this point, I don't even want to say it, but I feel like Bosa's gone. Warner's gone. Ayuk hasn't played. Pearsall is gone. I mean, I guess I could claim Kittle again, but he
can't hurt me, football gods. You've already done enough.
Right. I am already dead. It's maddening. It's maddening on all sides. But again, this loss only counts once. Like, they can bounce back next week and will be in great position. So don't lose heart. And I know this stings today. We waited all week for this and it stings. I get that. But it's still only one loss. The Niners are not going to go, you go 10-6, 11-5, and you're still going to lose 5 games. This is one of the 5, unfortunately. Perfect Blackness is back, says, okay, then what did the offense do after that? After that? The defense is 2 and 3 deep at multiple positions, yet the game was still in reach. No stats in 11. The offense lost this game early. No one is saying the offense was good, Perfect Blackness. It wasn't. All we're saying is that the defense was worse. That's it. We're not trying to tell you the offense was good. It wasn't good, clearly. So if we didn't explain that, if there's a disconnect there, that's on us. We are not saying the offense was good by any means.
I mean, the team has gone out and had 3 and outs to start the game on the first 2 drives and ended up winning easily. So that's not an excuse for the defense. It's just the defense playing off coverage on every single play was a terrible decision. And I think that more than anything else led to this, because it allowed, I think the defense, they were clearly getting to third down. So they were capable of matching up with the Houston Texans, even with all the injuries. It was every time they got to third down, it was 3rd and 6 or less, and they played 10 yards off, making it a very easy conversion.
They converted 9 of 16 on third down, 475 yards given up to the Houston Texans with no wide receivers. Perfect Blackness says BS stats. The offense was way worse. All right. Well, we just disagree. That's fine. I appreciate all the super chats. Thank you so much. I think we've covered it. You think the offense was worse. And again, I think the defense and the offense were bad. I just blame the defense more. That's the thing. We could go in circles, right? The offense barely got a first down until they didn't get one until almost halftime. And the defense didn't stop them until the fourth quarter with 4.5 minutes to go. Guess what? You know what that means? That means the Niners played really bad this week.
So I just thought of the perfect example of what this 49ers team is. And I'm curious if you can come up with my topical reference. It involves the movie Me, Myself, and Irene.
How is that topical? The movie came out like 25 years ago.
And we're old.
That doesn't make it topical.
We are the cow that won't die in that movie. He shoots the cow like 5-6 times and it keeps moving away. This team has been shot so many times and it keeps moving away. The season is still alive. They just won't die despite getting bullets put in them left and right with all the injuries.
I need to understand your thinking on what just happened. You were like, oh my God, I thought of a great example from real life. Let's see if Rob can figure this. I'm going to put this on a tee for Rob. And your chosen thing that you picked out was that you said was topical was a movie that came out a quarter century ago. You think I was going to somehow pull Me, Myself, and Irene out of thin air?
No, a reference to it. I thought maybe you would think of the cow. Because one, it's a Jim Carrey movie, and what's a bigger actor for millennials than Jim Carrey? And 2, it's a movie that takes place in your backyard.
Because it's in Rhode Island?
Because it's in the Northeast. Like, they go into multiple states in it.
What the hell, man? That might have been the poorest 49ers related performance of the week right there.
No. All joking aside, that is the perfect reference for what this team is. This is a team that should have been dead and looking at next season already weeks ago because of all the injuries, yet they're still there moving away no matter how many times somebody tries to put them down.
I want to point out that cow eventually did die, I think. I don't know.
No, at the very end of the movie, they have the news in the background, and the news talks about the miraculous recovery of the cow.
Again, in what way is something that is 25 years old topical? I have no idea.
Because it's about what the 49ers are.
But it's not topical. It happened 25. You think I'm thinking about the stupid cow for the last 20?
Do you still think of Steve Young? Do 49ers fans still bring up Joe Montana?
If I had said a Joe Montana thing was topical, would you have agreed with me?
If it was about this team and it was a good analogy for this team.
Yeah. Oh, Frisbee life makes it even worse. Houston was 31st in third down efficiency going into this game. Yeah, because that's when people dial it up and come with exotic blitzes and pressures that get home, and then he gets flustered, unfortunately. So, yeah, it was bad today. It was bad, no doubt about it. Ugly. Ugly on all sides. The good news, again, is that it's only one. Niners can get back at it next week. I'm not even going to suggest that players could come back from injury because who the hell knows at this point, but let's hope. Right? We could be feeling a lot different from this team a week from now than we feel right now. And hopefully we do. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like this video, please. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. Why are you fist pumping?
I was going to say, I got one last topical reference for you. To wash the stink off of this game, go watch Ace Ventura and make yourself feel good.
Right. Very topical. And then after that, you could, I don't know, eat some Dippin' Dots and... I don't even know. I can't even think.
Dippin' Dots, that still exists.
So does Ace Ventura. All right, we're done. Good night, everybody. Thank you for this video. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Good night.